Welcome to this session today, where we'll focus on Umbraco Cloud and the fact that we've recently launched a regional hosting option in the UK. My name is Pernille, Head of Marketing here at Umbraco, and I'll be the host of today's session. UK is the fastest growing market when it comes to selecting Umbraco Cloud as the hosting and development platform for Umbraco projects. With that said, we have to an increased level experienced customers being challenged to meet the data privacy requirements in the UK, and we of course need to cater for that with our cloud offerings. Okay, with me today I have my colleague Christian, aka Kek, who many of you will have met at the UK Roadshow last year. And with us today is also Steve from our gold partner in Manchester, CTI Digital. Welcome, Steve. We would like, or one of the purposes with this session as well is to follow up on some of the key questions that were raised during the Cloud Roadshow, of course, specifically focusing on the local hosting, of course, and Christian will look into the background for this and also look ahead. After that, Steve and I will talk a little bit about what this means for CTI, for them as a partner and their customers, that they now have a regional hosting option, and also touch upon Umbraco Cloud in more general terms as well. What we'll do towards the end is that we'll do a Q&A, and I will really encourage all of you to submit any questions you may have during this session, so that we can pick these up, and we will have a panel of both Kek, Steve, and Mike, who you all know, to answer these towards the end. So please submit any questions you have during the course of the session, and then we'll pick them up towards the end. But without further ado, I will then hand it over to you, Christian.
Yes, thank you, Pernille. Hello all. I am Christian, better known as Kek. I can't see who's on the call right now, but I suspect that I've met many of you already, both at Cold Garden and other events, but also our Cloud Roadshow, which Pernille mentioned. Today I'll talk a little bit about how we would like to work on cloud, and why we have the UK Regional Cloud Hosting Center, and how we would like the future to look for us, and also for you that are using cloud already, and you that are going to use cloud in the future. So first off, here's a picture of me. It's actually two pictures of me in the same picture. Here's another picture of me, here's another picture of me, and here's another picture of me, which there are also two pictures of me. And so there's total 6 me's in these 4 pictures. And why am I showing you this? It's because I like to see myself, but also because tracing these 4 pictures back, if we take left from right, that's Cold Garden 2021, which was full digital. The next one is Partner Summit 2022, and the next one is Cold Garden 2022, and the last picture is me talking at our Cloud Roadshows that we did in Bristol, Manchester, and London, November last year. And all of these talks I did had one thing in common, besides the fact that it was me doing it, but one of the main highlights and one of the main stories that I wanted to tell is that we would really like to work together with you. We would like for you to reach out to us with all the needs and requirements that you have on Umbraco Cloud, so that we therefore better can build a product that suits you. And as I said, we would really, really like to involve you in these processes and how we work, and what we should build next, and what we should do. Actually, we would love to involve you more, and that has been the main purpose and topics of the talks I've been doing for almost 2 years now. Furthermore, we like the UK in Umbraco. Actually, we love the UK in Umbraco, and to be completely honest, I love the UK. The Danes in general love the UK. We've been traveling there many times over the last 3,000 years. Luckily, our boats have evolved a little bit since this image, and we were not a nice bunch of people back then. You have retaliated since with the siege of Copenhagen in 1807, and I think we've held our truce since then and worked together to join a good relationship between the UK and Denmark. So we love you, UK here. I think you love us too, and because of that, me, Mike, Hjalte, Dimitri, Anna Maria, and Frederick took this Cloud Roadshow that we did in November. As I said, visit Bristol, Manchester, and London. On the way, we stopped on a traditional English inn, I think it was, and had some nice food. I can recommend the Stilton sauce. It was really good. But the topic of this and the idea with this trip was to go around again asking for your input on cloud and also telling a little more about what we're doing and how we would like to work. And one of those things that was mentioned at this roadshow was that we recently launched a US data center. I think it was launched sometime summer last year. And obviously, when we came to the Q&A session, the question from you was, when do we get a UK data center? And my answer at that questions, I got them at all the roadshows we did several times. And my answer was the first times, 1st of February, I said we could deliver 1st of February. Until someone at HQ heard that I said that, then our CTO, Philip, called me and said, Christian, you have to stop saying 1st of February. We can't promise that. So on the third roadshow, I said start of February instead. And around start of February, we released the UK data center. So how could I say the 1st of February, knowing nothing about it? It's because we have strengthened our cloud organization significantly. We used to be one team, then we were two, then we were three. Now we are 4 teams divided in a couple of groups as well. We've added product ownership. Product owners, we are really trying to ramp up the idea of product management as well. Hence, we would like to involve you. So 1st of February 2023, we released the UK data center for you. And we did that because you gave us the input. As I said, for 2 years, I've been asking for input. And we haven't received that much, but I promise that when we do, we will see and try our best to react on it. And that's what we did with the UK data center. You asked for it, and we think that you were right, so we built it. And this is not the end of that. This is actually only the beginning. We would like to continue this trend. We would like to continue to hear from you so that we can improve the product for you. And the reason for that is that we know you very well. We like you very well. You know us very well, and you like us very well. And you also know your clients very well, and they also know you very well. But we do not know your clients that well, at least not as good as you know them. That means that we need you to be our eyes and ears in the market. We need you to tell us what they need so that we can put it into Umbraco Cloud, because we would love to build it better for you, but also for your end clients. And we are highly dependent on this. This is the way we want to do it. That's why we restructured the cloud organization. That's why we added product owners. That's why we added product managers. It is to be better at reaching out to you and getting that input that you have from Umbraco Cloud. So UK data center is a testament to that. We would like to listen to your input. We execute on it, and please bring us more. How to bring us more? Feel free to connect. Write me an email, keg@umbraco.dk. I'm on Twitter at KSUVEC. I'm on LinkedIn. And also use our support channels. Talk to Mike, talk to anyone that you can. Of course, all of you are going to Code Garden this year. We have something called Cloud Corner, which is a cloud in a corner where I sit, our product owners sit, our team members sit, and you can come talk to us all days at Code Garden. With requests, questions, whatever you want. I'm fairly certain there'll be some kind of candy as well. So please feel free, connect, write me an email, stop by Cloud Corner at Code Garden, write on our issue trackers, talk to your partner, Mike, whoever you talk to from Umbraco. I'm sure they'll find the input and bring it to me as well so that we can start doing it.
Thank you very much, Christian. And if you have any burning questions on top of your head, please also do feel free to submit these, and then we'll look at them already today. Now I'd like to shift the focus to you, Steve. Are you still with us?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Steve, you are, as I mentioned previously, you are representing our Gold partner in Manchester, CTI Digital. CTI Digital is what we categorize as a cloud powerhouse. Therefore, of course, building a lot of cloud sites with us, and that's also one of the reasons why we, of course, listening a lot to your input and feedback when it comes to cloud. And that's why I've invited you here to sort of also look at, okay, how does a regional hosting option in the UK, what does that mean for you as a partner and your customers? So if we can, let's start out with if you could put a few words to what this means for you and how you've already started sort of jumped on this wagon.
Yeah, sure. Firstly, thank you very much for inviting me on. And Keck, you're right, you managed to get off lightly. It wasn't you that I was bugging about some of this stuff. Mike, however, must have the patience of a saint, because I think over a period of time, each time I met Mike, I was asking about when we were going to get a UK data center. So Keck, you got off lightly, but Mike, well done for being patient. But yeah, I mean, the new UK region means quite a lot, and I think it's fair to say it's a bit of a game changer in the UK. I think it enables not only us but other partners to basically offer a service that we've not been able to offer before. It opens up a number of new opportunities. We can talk to customers about hosting on Umbraco Cloud in a way we couldn't before. Many of our customers require data to stay inside the UK, and it's as simple as that. And so previously, when we've worked with Umbraco, we've not been able to put them on cloud because the data went outside the UK, and that was a problem for some of our customers. So we've usually reverted back to our default of Azure, or in some cases AWS, depending upon what we've had to work with. So yeah, that's really exciting from my perspective, from a commercial perspective, because we're now able to offer customers something we couldn't before. But actually, just drawing on Keck's point earlier, it also shows in a really lovely way that Umbraco do listen. You've asked for feedback, you've asked for questions, you've asked for how you can do things better or do things differently, and here we are after having those discussions, and we now have a UK data center. So yeah, really exciting.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Stephen. You've mentioned. I started out by saying that we've definitely seen an increase in the demand from customers asking to or having challenges to meet data privacy, and you are echoing that, of course, as a partner. But can you put a few words on which sectors it is that you primarily see this coming from? Is there a trend that you see there?
Yeah, it's I mean, we do an awful lot of work with both public sector and a variety of different private sectors. So we do a lot in finance, investment, and lots of customer facing businesses. And for many of those, customer data, particularly personally identifiable information, can't leave the UK. So whilst there is a strong demand for that, there always has been. And the thing we have now is, previously we've just never been able to talk to them about Umbraco Cloud as an option. So up until now, it's just never featured in the conversation. And on the time that it has, if a client has asked for it, we've had to say, well, no, we can't, because it would move outside the UK. So we've needed to move them on to one of those other alternatives. But going forwards, we know from historic experience that people ask for it and people need it. So I'm looking forward to the fact that now that we have another offering in our portfolio, that we can meet those customer needs in a new way, and it's a way that presents us with a number of advantages as well.
It's exciting. Thank you very much for sharing that. Looking at some of the other highlights that are at this point communicated about what's to come on the roadmap for cloud. What are some of the other things that you see having a big impact for you and on Umbraco Cloud as we look ahead?
There's a number of things. I really love how Umbraco has changed and has published that rather extensive roadmap, because for people like me looking at what's coming, it gives us an insight into the new things that we can talk about with our customers. From a tech team perspective, it means they're aware of what's coming as well. So the roadmap in general is really important, but from a tech perspective, one of the things for my team using Umbraco Cloud, obviously we've used it a lot, but we've always had to work with it in a certain way. We have our own CI/CD setup, and that's all tied in with our ticket management and customer service desk and all manner of things. But working with cloud has always presented a slightly different challenge, because we've had to work a different way and work outside our normal ways of working. So again, Umbraco listening to that feedback, and indeed we were talking about this again when you guys were over in the UK in our office when we hosted the Manchester event, and you got to talk to the tech teams directly, and you could see from them that the upcoming CI/CD integration was a really interesting part of the roadmap, because as much as I love my developers, developers like to work in a certain way, and actually that barrier around CI/CD did make it more difficult for us to really explore and exploit the use of Umbraco Cloud. Whereas being able to tie in with our own existing setup and not just how support works and how deployments work and all the other things associated with that, makes it really easy for the team to use, and much less of a problem. So it's great from a customer perspective, it's great from a commercial perspective, and now it's really great from a developer perspective too. So everybody's happy.
Creating that win-win is always the number one. That's really great to hear, Steve. Could you put a few words as well on what you would be, or what you are currently doing, and what also maybe also looking ahead, what some of the things you are doing from the commercial and marketing side of things to communicate the benefits of Umbraco Cloud out to your customers and prospects?
Yeah, we've got campaigns going together and going out very, very, very soon around a lot of the work we're already doing with Umbraco 7 end of life. But the cloud offering now offers us an extension to that campaign package, where we're able to provide a more rounded full service, and also a service that aims at different price points and different types of customer. So a lot of the upcoming Umbraco campaign work we're doing very much includes and incorporates the new offering from Umbraco Cloud, and provides an additional selling point for our outbound teams to talk about. So it's a really key part of our ongoing marketing and our ongoing new business generation looking forwards.
Cool, excellent. Zooming out a little bit and talking again about Umbraco Cloud in a little more general terms, can you put a few words to why you're selecting Umbraco Cloud instead of your own Azure setup? Yeah, this is a really interesting question. I remember doing a gold partner discussion a few years ago. It was a remote session during lockdown. And what we were talking about Umbraco Cloud, we were talking about Umbraco Uno, as you were just launching Uno as well. And there was a bit of discussion around in the agency space around how that might compete, or how that might be a problem with
with agencies such as ours who already offer hosting, who already offer some of those services as part of our services to our customers. But actually, one of the things that's and indeed I seem to remember Mike being on the call, and I was quite vocal with him as well in some of that discussion. But one of the things that I've changed my own perception about, and indeed this has enabled us to do, is to provide. It's not a replacement. It's not a. It's not either do Umbraco Cloud or do Azure or AWS. It's actually a complementary offering that allows us to offer something different to our customers than just going down the Azure route. There is particularly with the tiered packages of Umbraco Cloud and those different price points, it allows us to put a package across to certain types of customer in a more cost-effective way than perhaps using a traditional Azure setup might be, which can sometimes be more expensive. So it allows us to provide a more productized service to some of our customers that need it, whilst not taking away from other areas of our business where something more specific within Azure or AWS as part of a wider piece is more relevant or is more practical for that customer. So actually, we choose it. Not all of the time we choose it, some of the time because we choose it because it is the right solution for our customer, or it meets the right sort of needs, and works for us all. So it helps. It gives us another option, and in many cases gives us a more cost-effective option against some of the other ones that we've had in the past.
Just following up on that, is it possible to give one or maybe two sort of examples on when do you see it really ideal in to choose Umbraco Cloud sort of versus what you meant or what you mentioned as instead of your own Azure setup?
So we do lots of marketing work. We do lots of campaign work. Indeed, we've got a number of customers where, in fact, I was talking about one at Code Garden last year, one of our construction clients, and also one of our retail space clients, where they have lots of sites there for marketing, the integration capabilities of cloud, and the cloud version of Umbraco being able to tie in with things like Salesforce is really important. And what it means is we're able to have, and we build a lot of these for a few of our customers. So that repeatability of those, but have them as very quick to build platforms that we can roll out and use multiple times. They don't need complex Azure setups. They don't need some of those things that Azure might bring. And so actually, they do a really, really good job for what that customer needs. Whereas I have another customer that has very tight, complex integrations. It's a financial institution where it has to be, the hosting is set up in a certain way that's controlled by them, that's managed by us. And actually those sorts of scenarios where there is a different type of control required, Umbraco Cloud doesn't provide a solution that customer needs. And that's fine, but not all of my customers need that specific type of setup. And now we can offer them something through Umbraco Cloud that meets their needs, but it also comes with a number of other benefits. And things like the scalability and being able to move between packages, and the support that Umbraco offers as part of that cloud service is a support that my team can then leverage when working with our customers, and it provides us with a different capability, which is really, really important. And obviously all of that commercially affects bottom line. It gives us another value stream that we didn't have before, and that's another one of those reasons why I'm excited. But of course I would be excited because I'm the commercial guy, so revenue streams excite me.
Yeah. And it's so fantastic that that excitement really comes across, and I'm sure it does when you're facing clients as well. Just sort of ending off our initial conversation here, Steve. Can you put a few words to how you see the regional hosting will sort of, will continue to contribute to CTI's business growth, and how it sort of meant to that you were able to scale up the business growth of on the Umbraco portion of the business.
Yeah, it becomes a new key part of our offering. We're developing out some new services based around Umbraco Cloud. And as I started to mention before, it helps us target some specific customer tiers and provide a more productized offering for certain people. And all of that adds and drives the direction for part of our business around growing our Umbraco customer base, growing our presence within the market, and extending our capabilities. And it allows us to provide solutions for customers, particularly a lot of our marketing customers, where we can build campaign sites and build focused platforms around developing rapid routes to market for their growth. And it enables us to provide a fast and scalable solution that isn't just something that is limited. It's a fast, scalable solution that grows with those customer needs, rather than just being something that is a small campaign site that does a job for a while and then needs replacing. It provides something that's fast and capable, but also is something that's a long-term solution as well, rather than being just a short-term fix. So all of that really helps to establish and grow further our Umbraco offering and our place in the market, which I've always been really keen on.
Yeah, and also allows the customer to grow over time, because that's of course also sort of on the other end. That's also I think very impactful that both the project, but also it also allows the customer business to also scale over time. Thank you very much.
Very much so.
Thank you very much for all of your insight there. As I mentioned, I'll give you a few last minutes to add any questions that you may have. But for now, let's take some of the questions, and I hope you'll stay on as well, Steve, to help answer any questions that you might be also able to add insight on here. So one of the first questions that is coming up is what is the next big thing that you're going to be working on for the roadmap? And I think that is probably most a question for you.
Yeah, I can see Ravi asked 3 questions about the same thing. So he answered one. He had added one question, and then he answered that, and then he added a follow-up question. But I think what you answered yourself, Ravi, as well, is the next big thing that I'm most excited about is definitely the CI/CD, which Steve also mentioned. Definitely the biggest thing that will provide for cloud, from my point of view. And that's also to add to your third question, Ravi. That is also the feature I'm most excited about coming to cloud, and it's actually the feature that I've been most excited about since I started, I think, for cloud. This is actually the biggest thing. I think you also said that, Steve, that it's kind of a shift in how we do Umbraco Cloud. Kind of we had this history of saying, if you want to use cloud, you have to do it our way, but that's not how developers like to work, and it's not the best way either. So now we're trying to say, well, how can you use cloud in your way? And that's what CI/CD is going to enable. And I think it's going to open up a lot of doors for other good ideas and features and implementations that you can utilize to build into your own flow as well. So That's also what I'm excited about. I'm excited about getting it out so you can use it, but also see where this takes us with Umbraco Cloud, because I think it's a shift in how we've usually done things, and this is the biggest shift in how we would like Umbraco Cloud to work since I believe we started with cloud many years ago.
Cool. Then Ian is adding a question into addressing what plans or support is there for high availability or disaster recovery to protect against outage in the UK South.
Yeah, I can answer that as well. So naturally, having the data centers was the first step. Second step is how can we utilize the fact that we have data centers in various regions of the world. And the third step is how can you utilize it? We know we've seen Umbraco solutions that runs in different regions that have backups in other regions, and that gets very fast gets very complex because they're all different. So what do you do if there's an outage in UK South now? Do we back up on US or UK, or sorry, on EU or US? That wouldn't be possible. So we would need a different place in the UK, I suppose, to back up or ensure that everything is up and running. There's also the possibility of having several regions, data centers in different regions where you can choose yourself. You can also host in both regions, perhaps eventually sometime. So that you can set up this whole disaster recovery. So, as I said, the first step is getting it up and running on different regions. We have that now, and then this is definitely something to look into. But there are a lot of things to look into and take into consideration in this with a feature like that. So again, if you have any inputs, by all means reach out, because we would love them, so that we don't have to, so we can better build what would support your needs.
Cool. And then and next question is there a plan for Azure failover groups for the Umbraco Cloud and hardcore projects?
Is there a plan for that? No, there's not a plan, but I think that ties very well into what I just said. So ensuring that we are on top of Azure failures as well is something that is next on our radar. But as I said, there's a lot of complexity in this, and we need to be able to handle the whole cloud setup. And each setup we've seen that has this in Azure is very different, and we need to kind of figure out how to navigate in that.
Cool. And then another really relevant question here is, how do we migrate an existing Umbraco cloud site that is sitting on the Netherlands-based data center over to the UK?
You reach out to our support.
Is the short answer to that?
I can add
Mike, do you want
to say just one word in this webinar? There is a full documentation. Essentially, it depends on the project. If it's a simple site, it's probably fairly simple. If it's a complex site, then it's a bit more complex. But essentially, it's you need to put it down and then put it up onto the UK. Is the short answer, and we can help you on everything and guiding you in our support channels to do so.
Cool. Yeah, and Ravi is just confirming that this is a game changer, and we certainly like to think so as well, as Steve also echoed. I
also think that Ravi is actually referring to the CI/CD feature, that is a game changer for many. Mm-hmm. I mean, currently you can use cloud, but I think essentially what the CI/CD, but also something like flexible environments, having that on the roadmap reassures you that there is not a need for you to start using cloud now. It's just, as Steve says, that currently you need to work in two different ways, using cloud or using the normal way. However, knowing that CI/CD is part of the roadmap in the very near future means that there's no need to sit back and wait for that. You can start using cloud already in the UK region, and then you can just tie your CI/CD into it and streamline it when we have the new feature.
Cool. Mike, is there any other questions that you've heard time and time again coming up in the context of what we've spoken today that you might feel it would be good to raise out in plenum here, or do you feel that most of the things are covered?
I mean, I can probably try and cover the last bit together with Steve on the commercial benefits when selling cloud to clients. From my perspective, speaking to a lot of different agencies, I can confirm that we've seen, not only did we see beforehand a massive interest, but just post the launch of the UK data center, we've seen a massive increase in proposals being out, in projects being actually created in the UK region. So I'm pretty certain that a lot of people has been waiting for this specific feature to be launched before they started selling cloud. And one of the reasons, obviously, it opens up the ability to sell to a lot of new sectors where there's just a hard requirement. A lot of it is probably also perception, where it's in a dialogue. If we can't cover off with an easy yes, of course it's in the UK, we're not going to go down the road of trying to sell cloud, because we are in a risk of ending in a dialogue where we have to kind of backstep. So just being reassured as a salesperson, a commercial, being able to just be fully comfortable with saying, yes, it's hosted in the UK. Of course, this is on Azure UK, means that a lot more people are now proposing Umbraco Cloud as an option in general across. I don't know if you agree with me on that, Steve.
Sorry, I can put myself on mute. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's I'd agree with all of that. I think there's lots of there's a lot of excitement around where it's going as well, and how we can use it. I mean, I was just talking to, I've got one of my cloud colleagues on Slack with me now, and looking at how we're able to implement the solution for a customer that we're talking about in a multi-site capacity as well, and how we can use the scalability of cloud to provide that, where it's a collection of microsites. So I was just making a mental note there to talk to you guys about that a little bit later on.
I think one last thing I want to add is also, if you strategically, I mean, there's a lot of focus from clients also to have a cloud first strategy, not just having an open source solution, but also a cloud first strategy is top of many customers, but also being future proof of how you can build the solution out in the future. So knowing that Umbraco Cloud will be fully enabled in the summer with a headless API as well, means that when the customer does come to you in a year's time, you have it all sitting in an infrastructured managed solution on Umbraco Cloud, but also you can then suddenly start using the APIs on Umbraco Cloud to build headless architecture for that customer if that need arises. So you've got a lot of options that is available to you in a managed infrastructure as well.
Thanks, Mike. And then Steve, Ravi is raising a question that is addressed to you on what do you see as the commercial benefits, or what commercial benefits you've seen when selling Umbraco Cloud to clients?
I think there are a couple of things. Umbraco's the different cloud tiers are really good, okay, because you can offer. Not everybody needs a completely bespoke custom solution for hosting. A lot of the websites we build have many of the same requirements, whether they're brochureware websites or whether they don't have lots of complex integrations or really specific requirements. And so actually, lots of customers just need a place to host their website. What you require is obviously dependent upon how heavy its usage is, for example. So the cloud tiers are really useful because it provides a more specific off-the-shelf solution for Umbraco hosting that fits many clients' requirements without us having to go through and spend time specifically engineering or architecting particular instances. So it's not only provides a cost-effective solution for customers. So that's one thing, and we can pass that cost-effectiveness on. But secondly, from an internal perspective, being able to use those off-the-shelf packages also helps save time and therefore money within DevOps, within support, because we're building on known platforms that are optimized for Umbraco, and we can work with in a standardized way, which just helps improve efficiency around project delivery as well. I think one of the other things which is indirectly a commercial benefit is obviously Umbraco Cloud is Umbraco part of the sustainable hosting initiatives as well, and actually that provides an additional which can have a commercial impact around it's an additional offering, it's an additional reason for using cloud, and provides more supporting reasons to use cloud for clients, particularly from things like ESG perspectives and the likes. It's an additional non-commercial but commercially related benefit, if that makes sense. But yeah, lots of different reasons.
And if you need to discuss, I mean, I'm not going to discuss it on this call, but there is also a financial advantage, and a discussion I always have with agencies is you know, compared to your existing Azure business and margins and everything, Umbraco Cloud offers a very well competitive program for some of the partner tiers that we have. So obviously it depends on the level of relationship you have as an agency, but reach out to me if you want to discuss that in more detail, because it is, you know, close to what you already know for some projects. So financially it should also make sense, especially with some of the recent news from Azure.
Cool. Then Emiliano is raising a question on that is related to Cloudflare. Cloudflare has recently allowed more granularity in their user permissions. Is there a plan for Umbraco to allow us to, or to allow the partners to manage more elements of Cloudflare ourselves with any Umbraco Cloud package?
So I'm not quite familiar with this granularity in the user permissions, but we already have some user settings in Umbraco Cloud that ties into Cloudflare. We have our security and caching settings that you can set in its project subpage. That's what we call them. Those are the subpages that you access from the settings drop down on your project. In there are already a lot of settings that you can set that ties directly into Cloudflare. We are always looking for features and settings and configurations in the services that we provide or that we use to host your websites in Umbraco Cloud, and see if there's anything there that makes sense to expose to you. So if there's anything in this that you see or you'd like to have access to, then feel free to reach out, and then we'll take a deeper look into it. That's for sure.
Cool.
That's a great question as well. Actually, we use Cloudflare a lot, in particular. Our head of hosting, Ewan, does a lot of work with Cloudflare. So that's definitely an interesting requirement to explore a bit further, being able to wrap that and extend some of the features to Cloudflare. Yeah. I know my team would be interested in that too.
Cool.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Cool. And then another question for you that's come in for you, Steve, is what kind of friction does Umbraco Cloud remove for customers? Can you put a few words to that?
Yeah, I'm going to answer it's an interesting question, but I'm going to answer it in probably a somewhat unexpected way. It makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. And the reason why I'm saying that, that's a good thing, because the point is, from a customer's perspective, it just works. It's hosting. 90% of customers really don't care how it's hosted. They care about SLAs, they care about reliability, they care about the fact that it's there and it works. But actually what goes on behind the scenes, for most people, doesn't matter. And for those that it does, then you're usually building something that has very specific requirements. And so that's a different conversation. But from a customer perspective, they are blissfully unaware of how it works and what it does. And I see that as a very, very good thing. It just works. And that's, and ultimately, that's what technology should do. It should just work. You shouldn't have to work hard for it. And yeah, from a customer perspective, cloud's just great. They know what they're going to get. We share the SLA that obviously Umbraco publish, and that's the SLA that we work towards. Customers are happy with that, and at that point, the job's done. But yeah, so it doesn't remove any friction, but that I see that as a positive thing. It's just a strong offering that works.
Cool. That's a really good one-liner. It just works. Thank you very, very much, Steve. And I think our time is starting to be up, which is perfectly timed with I don't see more questions coming in at this point. But feel free to submit any questions to both Kek and Mike as anything comes up. I will also be sharing the deck from today and the recording, so that you can go back and also revisit what we've discussed here. But again, thank you all very much for joining, and hope to see you soon again. Mike, do you want to have an ending comment just before we close out?
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I just want to say, please remember, we do have a full team of dedicated experts ready to help you with answering questions. If you are submitting for a tender or an RFP and you need our support, please reach out to me or the team. Anything where we can support you in selling cloud. It might even be just your technical team who wants a session or rundown. If you need us to help demo it for a customer, anything that you need our support with, just reach out. We have a full team.
Cool. We're here to help and support you. That's the final words from here. So all the best on your Umbraco Cloud projects, and we look forward to see a lot of new projects on Umbraco Cloud in the UK as we look ahead. Cool. Have a good day all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.